Hello again. Welcome to the third video in our series on English language teaching methodology. Now, you will remember that in introducing reading and listening, we spoke of three stages: the pre-stage, the while stage, and the post stage. Now, in talking about speaking, we tend to use different terms. Listen to what our teacher says about the three stages of her lesson.
First we'll do some warm-up, and then I'll present something new. And then we'll practice the new grammar, and then we'll do the production. That is, the last stage is the production.
Did you get that? First of all, after the warm-up, she will present something new in the presentation stage. Then she will practice the new structure and vocabulary in the practice stage with some controlled exercises. And finally will come the production stage, where the students will use the new structure and the new vocabulary in open-ended tasks. Of course, the teacher has prepared some handouts and some visuals.
I prepared some cards, okay, and I asked, okay, some cards. Okay, some cards, okay, like this. Okay, and also I asked one student to draw a picture for me, okay, because I think pictures may help the student to understand better. And also I prepared a information gap. Mm-hmm.
And she is planning a number of different activities.
There will be role play, will be pair work and group work. And yes, and also I asked them some questions individually.
Now, this was a normal lesson that we recorded as it happened. We have cut 45 minutes down to 20 minutes, but nothing else was changed, and certainly nothing was rehearsed. It was a real lesson. So let's see how that turned out.
Okay, last Sunday at about 8 o'clock, last Sunday evening, I called you, but none of you was at home. Where were you? And what were you doing at that time? You can make up your answer. You can say, oh, at that time, let me see. At that time, I was having an important meeting with Mr. Bill Clinton. And you can tell me anything you like, okay? So what were you doing at that time? Okay, now please.
I was watching a horse race.
Mm-hmm. A horse race? Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, anybody else? Okay.
I was flying to the moon at that time.
Really? Okay, it must be exciting. Okay, anybody else? Okay, now please.
I was flying to France, and I will see the 98.
Okay, 98.
The World Football Cup.
Yes. Okay, good. And what about you, Tim?
I was going to France with Jenny.
Okay, thank you. Okay, but to tell the truth, okay, I can't ask the questions, okay, one by one. So would you please ask the question instead of me? Okay, instead of me, ask a question. And ask three different questions, three different students, okay, in the classroom. Understand me? And take some notes and then tell me later. Okay, and you may leave your seats, okay? You may leave your seats.
I was in the toilet.
And what were you doing at that time?
I was passing water.
I have an important meeting.
With whom?
With who? Mr. Jiang.
Okay, have you finished the questions? Okay, and who'd like to read your report? Okay, who'd like to read your report? Who'd like to read your report?
I asked Dick two questions. One is, what was your cat doing last evening? His answer is, it was eating a fish. My second question is, what about you? His answer is, I was eating a fish with the cat, use the same plate.
Okay, now Jenny Chu, please.
Zhangwen was eating food in the restaurant Shangri-La, and she said the food is very delicious and it's very expensive.
And at that time, I was reading a book at home. Were you doing the same thing? At that time, I was reading a book. Were you doing the same thing? Were you reading a book too?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, no. Okay, I wasn't. Here. Okay, anybody else? Okay, you can say, no, I wasn't. Okay, what else? What else? Have a try, please. Okay, have a try. What about Peter? Were you reading a book?
Yes.
Were you reading a book too?
Yes, I was.
Okay, very good. You can also say, oh, yes, I was. Already here. Okay, was. And what about your father? Was your father reading a book too? Okay, this time the right word was here. Was your father reading a book? Okay, now Bill, please.
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. And what was he doing at the time? Do you want to tell me?
He was sleeping.
He was sleeping. Okay, he must be very tired. Okay, now let's come to next question. What about your mother? Was she reading a book? Was she reading a book? Okay, now please pass the microphone to Mr. Wang. Was your mother reading a book at that time?
She wasn't.
Okay, so say no. Books, everybody. Page 17, part 1. Part 1, okay, ask and answer. Please practice the dialogue with your partner. You may start now.
我 you watching TV last night? Yes, I was. 你忘了？我
It's very simple. The first pair.
Was you watching TV last night?
Okay, sit again, please.
Were you watching TV last night?
Yes, I was.
Okay, yeah.
Was Wei Hua making a dress last night? Yes, she was.
Now go on, please.
Was Polly riding a motorbike last night?
No, it wasn't.
No. No, it wasn't. Was Polly? Okay, yes, Polly is a bird. Okay, now textbook. Okay, now, okay, let's play a game, okay? And please, okay, close your books for a while. Okay, and I'll give, okay, a card, okay, to a student in every pair. Okay, but you can't show, and there is a phrase on the card. Understand me? But please don't show the phrase, okay? Don't show the card to your partner. Okay, you must keep it a secret, okay? You must act. Do you know act? That's right. You must act it out. Okay, and did I make myself clear? Yes. Okay, now for example, okay, ask me the question together. You ask me the question. What were you doing at 6 o'clock yesterday evening? Okay, now please look. Yes, okay, so you can now stand up, please. Okay, and act. Okay, stand up. Okay, stand up. Okay, don't forget to ask the question. And now, Cecilia, would you please act, okay, in the front of the classroom, and we'll guess together. Okay, now please guess. Okay, where's the microphone? Yes. Okay, now, and Miss Chen, would you please?
Were you eating a hamburger?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, what were you doing at 6 o'clock yesterday evening? Oh, were you typing?
No, I wasn't.
And were you playing a computer game?
Yes, I was. Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. And yes, Sam and your partner, please have a try. Okay.
Oh, I know. Are you eating on cake? Oh, no. You were working in a park. Yes.
I'm going to show you a picture, but only half of you can see the picture. Understand me? Okay, but don't worry. I'll tell you something about it. Let me see. What about this team? Okay, stand up, please, and turn back. Okay, turn around. Okay, turn around. Okay, turn back. And what about the students? Okay, in this team. Okay, please. Okay, stand up. Okay, and turn back. And also the students. Okay, in this team. Okay, please stand up and okay, turn back, please. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay, now let's look at the picture. Okay, let's look at the picture. Okay, and let's enjoy the picture. Okay, let me say something about the picture first. There is a man in this picture. His name is Peter, and he lives in a tall building. It's an apartment building. He lives alone. One day, he felt lonely, so he opened his window and looked out of it. He saw many people, 2 beautiful young ladies, some boys, some girls, a boy, an old man, and they were doing different things. Some of them were playing football, some of them were flying up. You can ask your partner the question, and then your partner will tell you, yes, he was, or no, he wasn't. Understand me? Okay, and which parents have tried? What about Hans and your partner? Okay. Mike, yes.
Were the boys playing football? Yes, they were.
Okay, very good. Okay, and which pair want to ask and answer? Okay, have a try, please. Okay, Miss Jin.
Was the man reading newspapers?
Oh, no, he wasn't. There are 2 women.
Okay, don't tell her. Okay, let her ask you. Okay, another question. Okay.
Well, were the women reading the newspapers?
Oh, yes.
Let's look at the blackboard. Okay, here is a boy on the blackboard. His name is Bill. Of course, okay, he's not Bill Clinton, he's not Bill Gates. Do you know Bill Gates? Yes, and he's not the Bill in our classroom. Okay, he's not another Bill. Okay, a very naughty boy. Okay, his name is Bill, and this morning he didn't want to get up, and he didn't want to go to school either. He just wanted to sleep. Okay, first look at the boy. How does he look? How does he look? You'd like to tell me, how does he look? How does he look?
He looks very tired.
Yes, you're right. Okay, we say this boy, Bill, looks very tired, yes? And what did he do yesterday evening? Or what did he do last night?
I think he stayed up the night yesterday.
Yes, okay, stayed up the night, okay, and what did he do, okay? Tell me in detail.
I think he watched the football match.
Yes, okay, maybe he watched the football match. He was watching the football match all the time yesterday evening. Do you think so? Yes. Okay, so we say maybe he was watching the football match all the time yesterday evening. What else? What else? You can guess. Okay, now what about Miss Liu?
I think he was playing the computer games all night.
Yes, all the time. Yes, all night. Okay. Yes, okay, that's possible. Now let's listen to a dialogue. Okay, just listen.
Practice dialogues like these.
Hello. You look tired today.
Yes, I went to bed too late last night. I was doing my homework and I forgot the time.
You'd better go to bed early tonight if you can.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, now please open your books on page 17. Page 17. let's read up the tape, okay?
Hello. You look tired today.
1, 2. Okay, please pay attention to your intonation, okay? You look tired today. Okay, now let's go.
Yes, I went to bed too late last night. I was doing my homework and I forgot the time.
Yes, I went to bed too late last night. I was doing my homework and forgot the time.
Okay, now let's go.
You'd better go to bed earlier tonight, if you can.
You better go to bed earlier tonight if you can.
Okay, now again.
Yes, you're right.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, let's read up the tape again. Pay attention to your pronunciation and intonation, okay?
Unit 5. Practice dialogues like these.
Hello. You look tired today.
Yes, I went to bed too late last night. I was doing my homework and I forgot the time.
Okay. Yes, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, yes. Hello, you look tired today. 1, 2.
Hello, you look tired today. Yes, I went to bed too late last night. I was doing my homework and forgot the time.
You'd better go to bed earlier tonight, if you can.
You better go to bed earlier tonight if you can.
Yes, you're right.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, please make new dialogues, okay, with the phrases in the box, okay? Make up new dialogues with your partner. Okay, and now let me listen to your new dialogues, okay? Okay, and which pair?
Hello, you look tired today.
Yes, I went to bed too late last night. I was doing my homework and forgot the time.
Okay, now would you please use the phrase in the box? I was drawing
a picture and forgot the time.
Yes, good.
You'd better go to bed earlier tonight, if you can.
Yes, you're right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that's okay. Okay, now please have a try.
Oh, hello, you look terrible today. What's wrong? Oh, my dog was lost last night. I found it everywhere, but can't find it.
I found it, or I was looking for it.
I was looking for it everywhere, but can't find it. Oh, don't worry, I can find it for you. Oh, thank you very much.
Now, let's look at the picture, okay? Okay, actually, it's a murder mystery. Okay, do you know murder? Yes, a person, yes, you're right. A person was killed, okay, on purpose, not by chance. Okay, if by chance, okay, it's an accident, but this on purpose, okay? A person was killed on purpose, okay? That is murder, right? Okay, and here is a beautiful young lady. Her name is Mary Smith. Okay, say it after me. Mary Smith.
Mary Smith.
Yes, and now look at this. Okay, look at this. It's a baseball bat. Baseball bat is a bat used to play baseball. Yes, okay, it's a baseball bat. 棒球打棒球的那个棒啊 baseball bat. And Mary was hit. Mary was hit over the head by with a baseball bat, okay, like this, the murder case. Now I'm going to divide you into different groups, okay, and we'll discuss, okay, but don't, I'll explain something further. 我一会儿要再说点东西啊 okay, now you four, and you four, and then you four, no, let me see, yes, you four, and you four, and then, okay, and what about the students? Okay, in this team, students in this team, please stand out and come here because I'll ask you to do something special. Okay, come here, please. Okay, and then you may change your seats. Okay, then you four, okay, Nina and Susan, you may come here, and then Ted and Dodo, and you may talk about it together. Okay, and I divided you into different groups, right? And in each group, there must be a detective. Detective. I know it's a new word, okay? Don't know the word detective. Detective. And at that time, okay, when the murder happened, Okay, there are three people. There are three people in that house. Okay, one is John Smith. One is John Smith, and John Smith, of course, okay, is Mary's husband. Okay, and there's a driver, okay, in the house too. His name is Tim Black. Okay, and one student will be Tim. Okay, one student will be John. One student will be Daisy. As you like， 你们自己来随便挑啊，愿意当什么角色 ？As you like. Yes, do you have fun? Of course， 当然撕开了，把它撕开啊，把它撕开，每个人拿一张，每个人签名。Okay, David， 是吧？快，现在你们就可以去了，我有点晚了。I will go there soon。有说刚说的问题，看谁的路怎么来了，然后你就说行了。I was a driver.
What were you doing at 8 o'clock?
I was out all evening. I left my house at 6 o'clock and drank beer in a pub. Oh, I came back at...
I was the observer in Liuge's group.
Yes.
And two students in this group spoke Chinese. And one student forgot to use the verb be. And nobody misused the verb be. And then...
be, okay, you know, I'm is R, okay, and what's word, okay, we call them B, okay, not B-E-E-B, okay. Okay, the same sound indeed.
And nobody forgot to use the main verb with ing. And one student used the sentence in WH questions, and one student used the sentence in yes/no questions. In
yes.
the
Okay.
way.
Were you drinking at that time? Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one student answered the questions in the wrong way, and they found the murderer. It was John Smith.
Okay, John Smith. Oh, yeah.
She thought it's John Smith.
Yes, John Smith. Okay. When the students spoke Chinese. Okay, but. I can understand you because it's a very serious problem, right? It's a murderer. It's a murder mystery. Okay, so it doesn't matter. But next time, okay, when we do role play, when we discuss something, I hope you can try to speak as much English as possible.
And there the lesson ended. A lesson, like all the others, in which there had been a great deal of activity, most of it student-centered. Now let me remind you of the 3 stages. The first stage was the presentation stage, in which the teacher slowly introduced the new structure to the students. It was questions and answers in the past continuous with yes and no short answer forms. Then came the practice stage, the long practice stage, in which the students practiced the structure in a number of different activities in exercises which became increasingly open-ended. Finally, there was the production stage. This was a very ambitious role play in which a detective had to question witnesses in a murder mystery case. An observer reported back to the class at the end. Now, in all that activity, you saw a total integration of all 4 skills. You saw, of course, speaking and listening. That's what it was about. And you also saw some reading and some writing, the integrated skills lesson. And, of course, in all this, we are not presenting this kind of lesson as a model that you have to follow. We're saying this is a good example of a good teacher teaching a good lesson for you to think about and discuss in your tutorials. Now, we hope you have enjoyed the series so far, and that you will join us for the next video in our series. Until then, goodbye. Hello again. Welcome to Program 4 in our video series English Language Teaching Methodology. In this program, we're going to be looking at the very important, some people would say the most important part of a lesson, the lesson planning. Now, we should be looking at lesson planning from 3 perspectives. First, we're going to look at the importance of lesson planning. Exactly why do we do it? Secondly, we're going to be looking at the process of lesson planning, what goes into a good lesson plan. And then finally, we're going to be looking at what happens after the lesson. We're going to be looking at reflective teaching, that is to say, conscious assessment, self-assessment, peer assessment, and the whole subject of personal development as a teacher. Now, it might interest you to know that while we were making this series, we followed the same 3 stages as are apparent in a good lesson: a pre-stage, a while stage, and a post-stage. Now, the pre-stage was a stage in which we met with the 3 teachers. We discussed their lesson plans and what we were going to do, what they were going to do. The while stage, of course, was when we went into the classrooms with our cameras and our microphones, and that's what you saw in the 3 lessons that we have already shown you in this series. Then there was a post-stage. And that was a stage in which we invited our 3 teachers back into our studios and we showed them the video of their lesson. And they told us what they thought of the lesson. The good points, the strong points, the weak points. They criticized themselves. Assessment. Now, from the pre-stage, our planning stage, what did our 3 teachers think of lesson planning? Did they take it seriously?
No, in my opinion, the teacher is like a director, and the students are like the actors and actresses. So the director, okay, must prepare everything very well, and then the actors and actresses can follow the director's instructions and perform. So, of course, a teaching place is important.
Usually when I prepare a lesson at the beginning, before I prepare it, I always 3 questions in my mind. I will ask myself whether I can get my students involved in this lesson. And secondly, I will think about whether I give the students meaningful communicate activities. And the third, I will ask me whether I give the students variety of activities to get them interested in my lesson. And after these 3 questions, I start to prepare my lessons. For this lesson,
I plan like this. I plan every teaching lesson like this.
It's useful for you to know what...
I think it's important for a teacher to prepare a lesson. And otherwise, I don't know what to say in class. And maybe the students will laugh at me, I think.
I think that the teacher cannot give a good lesson without fully prepared before that, even though you are experienced teacher. A well-prepared lesson is quite different from an unwell-prepared lesson.
Well, no doubt there about the importance of lesson planning, is there? But they didn't just rely upon themselves or upon the teacher's book.
And other teachers may give me a lot of good suggestions and advice on teaching.
Sometimes, if I don't know how to teach this lesson, I will ask some experienced teacher, because I am the youngest teacher in my office. So I often ask other teachers for some help.
I often do it, especially before an important class. Usually we have we have a discussion. And first, if I'm going to give the class, I'm going to give my teaching plan to them and say what I'm going to do. And then the other teacher listen to me and also point out what they think it is not perfect in the plan, what is not suitable. And then maybe I can make some improvement on this. And then the lesson will be more better, because two heads are better than one.
Now, that's an interesting point, isn't it? Asking another teacher for help. Now, is that possible in your school? And would you help another teacher if she came to you for help? Now, what about what goes into the lesson plan, the process of lesson planning?
I think when I am writing my teaching plan, I always first write down the topic, which lesson, which unit, which lesson, and then the title of the unit. The second one is to write down the purpose, the teaching purpose. After the lesson, the student will get what. This is the purpose. The third thing is the language point. This is the language point. The fourth thing is the teaching aids. What shall I use in my lesson? The teaching aids. And then next one is how to design the blackboard. What shall I write on the blackboard? The last thing is it's a summary of it's a summary about the procedures. Maybe part one. What is in part one? This is an outline of the procedures. And on the next page, there are the details about my teaching plan. That is on what I want to write in my teaching plan.
And before the procedures, usually I also write down the important points of this lesson and also the difficult points of this lesson. And for the procedures, the details of my teaching plan, first I write down the time for each plan and who will answer, not the individual students, but also maybe it's a pair work or group work or the whole class. And for each step, I've also got small objectives and also write it down. And finally, after the lesson, I'll write down self-assessment. In other words, it's a feedback.
I think you will have recognized all the elements of a good lesson plan there, won't you? First of all, you have the different stages of the lesson, the pre, while, and post stages, or in the terminology of the speaking lesson, presentation, practice, and production. Then you had those most important of things, your objectives for each stage. Then you had the procedures to be followed. That is, the details of what kind of activity is to be followed, with what kind of interaction, and an indication of the skill areas covered. Most important, too, of course, is the consideration of what prepared materials you may need and what equipment you're going to need.
Because this is a listening class, so I will have a tape recorder, and that is overhead projector, because we have something to show to the students like this. And also I will write some new words on the blackboard. So I will need a blackboard and some chalk. And also I will have some worksheet for the students, such as writing task. And for information gap, we have this form. So many things, I think.
Yes, okay, I prepared some cards, okay, and I asked, okay, some cards. Okay, some cards, okay, like this. Okay, and also I asked one student to draw a picture for me, okay, because I think pictures may help the student to understand better. And
I also prepared some pictures.
Can you show us the pictures?
Yeah. These are the earliest telephone.
Did you do those pictures yourself, or did somebody else do them?
I'm not a good drawer, so I asked my students to draw these two pictures. I can only draw very simple pictures. Actually, I can draw these, but I think it is take me too much time to do this.
And it's good to
And by showing this, at the same time, I can teach them some new vocabulary in this unit.
Here's another one.
And also some objects. Yes, some objects. The modern one and also the ordinary one. By using this, I can teach another 2 new vocabularies.
So our teachers were really well prepared in advance, weren't they? I particularly liked the idea of getting their students to prepare some of the pictures for them. What did you think of that? They were also prepared for any possible problems.
Yeah, maybe students will have some difficulty in understanding the passage, I think. So I plan to play 4 times the tape. Play the tape 4 times. And this is one problem. And I think the lack of time is another problem. So if the time is not enough, I think I will leave the post-listening, this part, and leave for their homework. Maybe, I think if the electricity is out at that time, I will get ready for batteries. And also, yes, and also I made 2 tapes. If there is something wrong with one tape, I will have the other one.
This lesson is about the past continuous tense, and I think the students may make some verb before mistakes. Okay, and we're going to play 2 games. I think one is mom guess, the other is alibi. I think especially the second one is very new for the students, and it's very foreign for me too. So maybe some students may have difficult understanding the instructions. So maybe I'll explain how to play the game in some Chinese words.
But of course, once a lesson begins, it doesn't necessarily follow the careful plans you have made.
Sometimes, I think sometimes the plan is followed in my teaching, but in case something happened in my class, I will change something in class.
Usually, for teacher will follow the teacher plan for the most of the points, but for some details, maybe the teacher will change it on the spot, because sometimes it's hard for the teachers to predict on what everything will happen during the class.
Yes, because we are not the fortune teller. We don't know what will happen next.
So the teacher always has to be ready to change the lesson plan according to the situation at the time. Don't forget, we're not machines, and nor are our students. Now that's the lesson planning, and you've seen the lessons themselves. But what about the post-lesson stage? What about the reflection, the assessment after the lesson?
Yes. I think for a teacher, after a lesson, you should have a self-assessment. That's called feedback. By doing this, I think you can make progress. You can improve your lesson in the future, so that you can overcome some short points in the previous lesson, and you can go on with what you think it is correct in the future lessons.
Now, in the post stage of our production, we invited the 3 teachers back to our studios to watch their own lessons, and we asked them to criticize themselves, their self-assessment. And they did. Did you notice these points when you were watching their lessons?
I think sometimes I didn't give the instructions very clearly, so some students didn't understand me quite well, and when they practice a dialogue, actually I wanted them to use the past continuous tense, but I didn't explain it very clearly to them, so some of them didn't use the tense at all. So maybe in the future I'll give them the instructions in great detail.
Not very satisfied with the lesson. I think in the lesson I should write more things on the blackboard. But when I look back, I think I wrote only one word on the blackboard, that is cycle, I think. And also students have some new words they don't understand, such as band-aid or maybe sport-aid, something like this. And I think I should spend more time on these new words. You see, when after the lesson and just now when I saw this lesson again, I have one question in my mind. If I give the student an information gap, then the lesson maybe will be more interesting, and the students will also be more interested in this lesson.
And I was surprised, to hear myself speak the word okay all the time. Okay, as if that was the only only English word I know. So, maybe in the future in class, I'll try to use the word okay in class. Although it's a very popular word in English, but I think I overused the word in class.
So for the variety of activities of the students, actually one thing is missed. So from that point of view, maybe it is not good. You see, the students' activities are all group work, in group of 4 and a group of 6, but no pair work in my lesson. That's because I cancelled that part.
But I think the students are not very active as usual. Yeah, this class is a science class. The students are always very active. But in this lesson, they are not very active, I think.
So what did you think of their self-criticism? Of course, assessment isn't only negative criticism. You also have to know when you have done well.
I think everything went on very well, and I followed my teaching plan step by step. And I think I was very confident in class because I prepared this lesson more carefully than usual.
First, I should say I'm satisfied with that because I think I've done what I planned, and especially satisfied with the good cooperation between the teacher and the students. And in general, I should say I'm satisfied with the following 3 points. One is I think I achieved the main objects of my plan. And the second, I think I have a good design of the whole lesson. And the third, I think I should be satisfied. I'm satisfied with the design of the blackboard.
Yes, I think the main purpose of the lesson is to make the class student-centered, but not teacher-centered. So I think I have encouraged all the students to practice well. Yes, and also maybe just explain some new words or some important points. And I think the students have enough time to practice. I think they have practiced enough, I think.
Just as you need to know where you got it wrong, so of course you also need to know exactly where you got it right. And did you notice that our 3 teachers knew they had got it right by reference to their lesson plan? A good lesson plan should give you a good lesson. But is self-assessment the only kind of assessment available to you?
Yes, we often do. We often sit in other teachers' classes and to see how the teacher teach this kind of lesson. And usually I like to do in this way. I think that it's not useful to listen to one lesson. Usually I listen to a series of lesson. For example, I listen to one teacher how he will teach the whole unit. Because for one unit, maybe there's a listening class, reading, speaking. So I listen to a series of lesson to carry out one unit. Usually I listen in this way so that I can see the whole surface of the one unit, how this teacher deal with.
Yes, every term I must listen. I must attend other teachers' lesson. About maybe 20 lessons. Yes, and I usually attend more lessons than those. And after each lesson, I always borrow other teachers' teaching plan, and maybe I have some questions to ask them and discuss how to teach or how to improve.
Now that's another very interesting idea, isn't it? You ask another teacher if you can watch her class, or you ask another teacher to come into your class and watch you teaching so that you can discuss it afterwards. Now, it's not a very easy thing to do. Is it possible, indeed, in your school? It's not easy because we're teachers and we're accustomed to being alone in our own classrooms, aren't we? But I promise you, if you can try it, it can be a very rewarding teaching and learning experience. And of course, as our teacher said, in some schools it is actually a part of their regular semester. But of course, I'm not suggesting that all we have to do is copy other teachers.
And in my opinion, teaching is a very individual job, and each teacher has his or her own characters. So they will have their own methods to motivate the students.
Yeah, you're right. You see, sometimes you see that teaching method is very good and you want to learn it, but this method does not go well with your character. And if you want to put it in your class, maybe it doesn't go well with your lesson.
Yes.
Yes. Just as all of our students are different, they're all individuals, so are we teachers. And what works for you may not work for me. But it is important to try, isn't it? Or at least to discuss it. Because the most important goal is surely that of personal development.
Yes, indeed. It's important for the teachers, okay, to reflect, okay, because the students, the teacher, it will help the teacher to make progress in the future.
I think, actually, I think I'm still young, and I cannot say I'm an experienced teacher, so there's a long way for me to go. Even this lesson, I spent a lot of time on preparing this. I think there are many subpoints.
What I'm going to learn?
How are you going to learn? Yes.
How I'm going to learn? I think maybe so learn some teaching method, read some books on teaching method, and listen to other teachers' lessons. That's attend other teachers' lesson. Yeah, and exchange some information with other teachers. I think these are very important for me to improve my teaching.
I think teaching is a very, very open and challenging field, and the teacher must learn all the time. Okay, must try to be better and better. And in my opinion, there's no best teacher.
Now, I found that very interesting. Those 3 teachers were specially selected, of course, because they're good teachers. We wouldn't show you bad teachers. And yet all 3 were self-critical. They criticized themselves, and they all thought they could still make a lot of improvement. Now, what do you think of that? Is self-development, self-improvement a part of the teaching process? Well, I know what I think, and I presume you can guess what I think, but what I think actually doesn't matter. It's what you think that matters. Now, in this video, we have looked at the following things concerning lesson planning. First of all, we have looked at the importance of lesson planning and gone into details of the process of lesson planning. We have also spent some time looking at reflection after the lesson, at self-assessment and assessment from other teachers. All this because of its importance for self-development. Now, I hope very much that you have found this video helpful, useful, and challenging. And I hope also that you will join us for our next video, which is about classroom management. Until then, goodbye.